Yeah, looks fine.
And we're live, pal.
Hey, we're live, pal.
Well, good morning.
We're about to start, by the way. I see Jennifer Myers standing over there ready to weigh in.
Jose, can you speak a little bit closer to your mic?
I can. I'm also speaking through a muffled mask, so if you can't hear me, I apologize.
Well,
So,
good morning.
let me do the introduction. Good morning. This is Esther Lynn, Casey Leiden, and Jose Youngs for MMAfighting.com. We've got Jose over there at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, getting ready for official weigh-ins to start, and it seems like Jennifer Maia will be first.
You're a loud typer, Esther Lynn.
That's Jose.
Oh, Jose.
You know I'm a loud typer.
That's what people say.
Yeah, that's the word on the street.
You call it loud, I call it powerful.
Power typing with Jose Youngs. So are they about to start, Jose?
They are. I see Jennifer Myers standing right there.
All right.
From what I heard, I think the order will be. I wrote it down. I think the order will be Maia, Giles, Holland, Brown, Edmund, Cody. That's what I heard, but I'm not 100%. I see Jennifer Myers standing ready to go there.
Okay. And Esther, can you give a quick update on our news today already?
Oh yeah. So today we've had 3 fights drop out. Well, last night Timur Valiev was out, confirmed today. Ray Borg, it hasn't been completely confirmed, but we're pretty sure he's out. Since he's already been replaced, looks like on the card. And then, as you can see on the card here, you might notice.
We're about to start, looks like.
Oh, let me update one more thing. We've also gotten a replacement for Eric
first
Spicely.
to the scale
He's
for
also
this
out.
morning's weigh-ins, Jennifer Maya.
Oh, I apologize. We're going to get someone standing up on the camera again.
No, we have a good shot. So.
Okay,
cool.
good, perfect.
$124.5, the official weight for Jennifer Maya.
All right.
Was that 124?
Yeah.
124.5.
Wow, under the championship weight.
Good job.
Next to the scale, Trevin Giles.
Once we get Giles off the scale, I'll explain what happened to Spicely here. Just one second.
I need to get one of those face masks, Esther.
The Texas ones?
Yes.
185 pounds for Trevin Giles.
185. Okay, Casey, will you go ahead and update the... I went ahead and updated the weights.
We'll get them updated, don't worry.
I'm just letting you know. Updated them. So Spicely was unable to continue cutting weight. He was, according to his Twitter and social media is there.
Opponent, Kevin Holland.
Oh, right, never mind. Let's go on to Kevin Holland first, and then I'll explain.
Oop, those two. I can't overlap it, Esther. Look at that.
Oh no, because I had to add a name. That's why. we had another fight squeezed in there.
Up next, we have Kevin Holland.
Yep.
Official weight 184 pounds for Kevin Holland.
184 for Kevin Holland.
Who in Jacksonville said he wanted to fight a welterweight too. So.
Next to the scale, Randy Brown.
Randy Brown up next. He will be facing Vicente Luque at welterweight. Everyone has his custom mask. I'm really into this.
170.5.
170.5 for Randy Brown.
All right.
I think everybody has their mask now, Casey, because shipping finally caught up.
Next to the scale, one half of our main event, Edmen Shahbazyan.
All right, we got one half of the main event, Edmond Shabazzian. Now with us here.
185.5 for Edmen Shahbazyan.
All right, 185.5 for Edmond Shabazzian.
Half of our main event has weighed in.
Next to the scale, Cody Durden.
Ooh, he's much shorter.
135.5. All the way up there, Cody.
Official weight 135.5 for Cody Durden.
Cody Durden.
Next to the scale, Joanne Calderwood.
All right, Jojo Calderwood coming up next. Dr. Neville, Bad Mofo Jojo. Got a little cheering section in there.
Official weight 126 for Jojo Calderwood.
And the people's main event has weighed in. Both fighters make weight successfully.
That's your main event?
The
Jojo and Maya?
The people's main event. It should be the main event.
We got a couple more on the way, so it'll take you a little bit of a break.
All right. I believe Jose said that there's a little bit of a break.
Correct.
So let's go ahead and recap as I've updated the graphics.
Okay.
Jose, do you have any additional information on Charles Ontiveros?
I do not. I do not, unfortunately.
Oh, he was just signed this morning, correct?
I believe it was like they had. This is like one of the first times I've seen this. They had 3 fights pretty much fall out, and like 2 replacements happen in the span of like 36 hours.
Wow.
I've never seen that on a card. Like, I've obviously seen a lot of fights fall out, but not that many replacements in such a short amount of time.
Welcome to Pandemic MMA.
Seriously.
Although Eric Spicely, according to his Twitter, he had, it actually sounds pretty, no pun intended, depressing, but he said he was suffering from depression after his last fight with Tyron Wynn and was on antidepressants.
Deron Wynn.
Deron Wynn.
It was due to the concussion.
Yeah, I know. I'm reading his tweet.
Yes.
That's right. And he started using antidepressants due to head trauma suffered during the Deron Wynn fight. And quote, needless to say, it went horribly wrong and my fight is off. I will figure this problem out and hopefully be able to compete again. Ooh, that is, I hope he is okay. That is, not the most positive statement. Hopefully, I'll be able to compete again.
Yeah, I have. So that means that whatever happened was definitely dismaying at the minimum. So I hope he's healthy and safe, at least. Best wishes to Eric Spicely.
Yes, and pride of Rhode Island too. We don't have a lot of fighters that have ever fought in the UFC, and so I know a lot of my childhood friends back home that now do jiu-jitsu and other martial arts. They all look up to Eric Spicely. They all tweet about him. They all post Facebook about it. So he's not a name that a lot of people talk about, but back home, he's very important to a very small group of jiu-jitsu practitioners. So I know everyone is really heartbroken back home in Rhode Island.
He also has good taste in music.
He has a phenomenal taste in music.
So let's see. We've got a break here, but yeah, just one more update again, just to let y'all know. We've had 3 fighters drop out in the last 36 hours. And 2 of them have been replaced, correct? Or 3?
So. Let me find out.
Maybe all 3. But we've got Charlie Ontiveros stepping in for Eric Spicely. Got Vincent Cachero stepping in for Timur Valiev. Yep. Oh, and yeah, that's right. And right here we have, sorry, my graphics all messed up. And we have Johnny Munoz Jr. stepping in for Ray Borg. So we've got lots of movement on the card, lots of late second replacements. This is pretty much as last minute as it gets.
Yeah, we know very little about these new fighters. I'm not sure if they.
Johnny Munoz is undefeated. I know that 10-0. I think he was a King of the Cage champion, if I remember.
Well, I mean, are they fighting at their normal weight class, or are these guys just fighting weight classes above, just to get fights? Like how many replacement fighters did the UFC have ready?
Johnny Munoz has fought featherweight and bantamweight on the regional scene. So if this is a bantamweight fight, if this is a bantamweight fight, it is his natural weight.
Okay.
I hope these guys are cutting weight safely, because they're probably doing big weight cuts, and yep.
All right, so right now we are 15 minutes into the weigh-ins here, just getting started. And in the main event, we've had Edmen Shahbazyan weigh in.
Mm-hmm.
And in the co-main, we've got Joanne Calderwood and Jennifer Maia both making weight. Joanne coming in at 126 and Jennifer Maia coming in at 124.5.
Jennifer Maia definitely making sure she's going to make weight. Of course, Jennifer Maia has been had a history of not making the flyweight limit.
Missing weight, yes.
But she came in under, so good for her.
All right, and then in the next fight down on the card is Vicente Luque versus Randy Brown. And Randy Brown came in at 170.5. We are waiting on Vicente Luque. And Bobby Green or Lana Venata have not come in yet, but don't worry, he's got plenty of time. The middleweight bout after them, Kevin Holland versus Trevin Giles. 184 for Kevin Holland and 185 for Trevin Giles. So pretty good there. And I'm looking at some comments here. We've got Martin Resendez says, wait, Borg is on the card. No, Borg is off the card. He has been replaced by Johnny Munoz Jr. So, again, let's continue on. We've got Frankie Cyans versus Jonathan Martinez. Ed Herman versus Gerald Mirshard. Nathan Maness fighting Johnny Munoz Jr., who is in for Ray Borg. We got Marcus Perez fighting Charlie Ontiveros. Charlie Ontiveros is in for Eric Spicely. We got Jamal Emmers fighting Vincent Cachero, and Cachero is in for Timur Valiev. And then Chris Gutierrez is fighting Cody Durden, who came in at 135.5. So again, we've got, about 103 minutes left to weigh in.
103 minutes.
And
I believe Trevin Giles on the to kick it off on the main card against Kevin Holland. Was he the fighter that fought James Krause in Houston when James Krause took the fight on like 24 hours notice?
Yes, he is.
And he was the one of the judges got a black belt under like the same coach as Trevin Giles, right? That was that whole controversy.
Yes.
Good old Texas Athletic Commission.
I still thought they scored the fight right. I still thought Giles won the fight, but
So do I. But
it was just odd.
Still conflict of interest.
Yeah, he still won the fight. Still conflict of interest. The problem is that they don't really, we've talked about this before, but I have a couple of friends that have went through the certification to be an MMA judge. Also a couple people who have done the reffing program, and there's just not an incentive for people to be good at this. Commissions are often hiring just people they know, so.
And it's part-time work, not even like.
It's super part-time work. You don't get paid very much. It's, so not that you should get paid very much, but
why not?
You should be paid fairly.
Okay, you're not talking.
I don't, I'm not saying like you should be making millions of bucks or whatever, but you should be paid fairly in proportion with the bout. But it's not a profession. It's a part-time thing, so it's going to be real hard to find people who are going to give it the attention they need. So.
Normally at this point we all go, wow, these weigh-ins are flying by. But I think for the first time we can definitely say they are not flying by, and it's it's just kind of going.
I think a lot of it has to do with a lot of last-minute replacements. I'd imagine we're going to wait all the way to the end to get these guys.
All right. Yeah, so normally we've got a 2-hour window to weigh in. About 20 minutes have passed, and also, typically on a regular Friday morning, we get all of the people, pretty much about half the card weighs in the first half hour. However, we've had 3 replacements in the last 36 hours. So we're going to see some waiting, and there's going to be some issues. Also, if you have been following along with our Fight Island coverage, those weigh-ins were actually at 5 p.m. local time for them, even though they were early here for us.
For America.
And so here we've got Jose Youngs in Las Vegas at the UFC Apex, and myself, I'm Esther Lynn, photographer for MMA Fighting. We've got Casey Leiden, the truck, and we've got y'all joining us, tuning in to the UFC on ESPN Plus 31, Derek Brunson versus Edmond Shahbazyan official weigh-in.
Edmond Shabazzian, the man who I've deemed has the best pound-for-pound hair in all of MMA.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I
Really?
determined that.
Bold statement.
I don't think it's that bold. In terms of volume, how much volume color, maintenance, I don't know if anyone can surpass Edmen Shahbazyan in the game right now in hair.
Oh, I don't know. I really like Benson Henderson's hair.
Benson Henderson has beautiful hair,
See,
but I think Edmen Shahbazyan is
I've been
just
wanting Benson Henderson
a notch above.
to cut his hair for a long time and grow a mustache.
Why? What a very strange thing to want.
Why we've seen this long haired Benson Henderson for years. I'm ready for a change.
Oh, okay. I don't know. People like to pick on me for having quote-unquote friendly hair, but the only time I've ever interviewed a fighter that someone... So the last time we interviewed Edmund on camera, I think was UFC 239. It was the last opportunity I had. And after it went up on YouTube, the comments were like, Jose, what is it like knowing you have the second best hair in this interview right now? And ever since then, we've been enemies.
So Edmund, you say Edmund has the best volume, or just the best hair in general?
The best. It checks all the boxes.
Okay.
It's good maintenance, good color, good hair. It doesn't need. It can have product or no product in it to look nice. So it can look. It's one of those hair that'll look good getting out of bed after training camp. It's a good set of hair.
Yeah, I would say that's probably one of the rare things, right? So a lot of you can't wear hair products into the cage when you're about to fight. So it would be difficult to really have the style you want unless it just kind of naturally grows that way.
Right.
So
I think he checks all the boxes for having a good set of hair.
I will say though, when Shabazzian is fighting, everything's all sweaty and moving around, his hair still seems flowy. Yeah, so he has definitely one of the better fight hairs. Yeah.
I like Scott S. commented, what about Max Holloway?
Oh,
no.
His quarantine hair is wonderful.
It's wonderful. It's still not on that level.
I thought his quarantine hair was enough to beat Volkanovski too. I don't know what the judges saw, but
sure. Well, maybe it's that extra bounce that swayed the judges. Like, whenever Charlie Brenneman would get punched in the head, it looked 10 times worse because his hair would flop around. Things to think about.
I think Charlie Brenneman, I think the issue was him getting hit really hard too.
Yeah, there was that as well. So, all right, let's give people an update here. This is Esther Lynn for MMAfighting.com, and we've got in the main event Derek Brunson versus Edmond Shabazzian. Derek Brunson hasn't weighed in yet, but we still got plenty of time. Edmond Shabazzian came in at 185.5. In the co-main, Joanne Calderwood and Jennifer Maya have both weighed in. Joanne Calderwood coming in at 126 and Jennifer Maya coming in at 125.5. 124.5, sorry.
We got movement.
Oh, there is movement.
Next to
All
the scale,
right.
Chris Gutierrez.
Chris Gutierrez up next.
All right, Chris Gutierrez opening up the card.
$135.5, the official weight for Chris Gutierrez.
135.5. Oh, him and Cody Durden weighed in at the exact same weight. 135.5. So the first fight of the night is now set.
I don't see anyone. I can't tell.
But back to hair.
Speaking of hair, fun story about Vicente Luque. When he fought Brian Barberena in...
Oh, you're gonna have to say this a lot louder because I know it's a good story and I've heard it before. It needs to be way louder.
Next to the scale, Jonathan Martinez.
Just kidding. So we've got Jonathan Martinez.
I know everyone has heard that story, but for those of you who haven't heard that story, I want to share it every time he fights because it's one of my favorite stories ever.
But we're gonna have to wait for Jonathan Martinez to weigh in.
140 and a half. 140 and a half.
Whoa.
Wait.
140 and a half, the official weight, Jonathan Martinez.
140 and a half. I have not been told this is a catchweight bout.
It's about to be.
We will. It's about to be. And don't forget, later on today, we'll also have the preview show for Brunson versus Shahbazyan. If you'd like to hear more breakdown of the fights tomorrow night at the UFC Apex. And then, get some predictions in. See who you want to place your bets on. But for now, let's see. Jonathan Martinez came in at 140.5.
So we were told that was going to be a bantamweight fight. So I guess we'll have to hear back from the UFC and how they will handle that.
Yeah.
Looks like Martinez just was having a bad weight cut. Just called it a day. He decided to come in a little early for the weigh-ins rather than wait till the final moments.
I guess so. If you get any updates over there in Las Vegas, you'll let us know, of course.
There's this big huddle of people all looking at a clipboard over in the corner. We got movement, though, for another fighter.
All right, one more fighter coming in. We've got Jose Youngs over there at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas.
I've been a big proponent that many of these lower weight class fights
Next
need
to the scale, Johnny Munoz.
All right, Johnny Munoz Jr., who is in for Ray Borg, is about to weigh in, rather.
So as far as we know, he got the call in, I don't know, earlier today. I'm assuming you heard. I'm assuming you found out last night. Do we still know why Ray Borg is out?
No.
Nope, still.
No, we don't have any information on that.
Man, what bad luck for him. Ooh, okay.
Up there.
145 and a half, the official weight for Johnny Munoz.
All right, 145 and a half. So I guess
This is a feather. I guess they moved this to featherweight. That would that would explain him not coming in 10 pounds over his normal weight.
so. Johnny Munoz Jr., who's in for Ray Borg, comes in at 145 and a half. That bout is a featherweight bout now against Nathan Maness.
You could have just let him make the mistake.
True, Heidi would have been on the wiser.
Oh, the other Heidi. Yeah.
Which is right, because it says right on the card that we have that it is a featherweight bout.
Oh, they sent out a new card, UFC?
Yes.
Okay. So originally this was supposed to be a bantamweight fight with Ray Borg. So it's gone from bantamweight to featherweight.
And on the card, it does say that Frankie Cyans versus Jonathan Martinez is a bantamweight bout. There is no indication that it's supposed to be catchweight. So this is from the UFC's card that they just gave us.
Yeah, I'm looking at the card they handed out just moments ago about the upwards. It's just bantamweight featherweight for those fights. So yeah, Jonathan Martinez just missed weight.
Okay. Be interesting to hear about what factored into that, since a lot of people have been having issues. There's not, it's hard, right? They've been saying, some fighters have said that it's been easier to train in these situations. With COVID around, maybe because there's just less people around, or honestly kind of less work, or they've been able to concentrate more time in training. However, there's also less people around. Like I said, there's some gyms are restricting the amount of training partners. Some people are out sick.
Essentially, every gym is restricting training partners, and basically, if they're not, they're most likely breaking like city city guidelines.
I knew it was 7-inning doubleheader. There's 6 teams tonight that are supposed to play that on.
Yeah, it seems like
They're not.
man,
They're
this
just playing.
Yeah, but we're in a bubble. The NBA's
COVID is really making these weight cuts even extra difficult.
They're not wrong.
I feel like at the beginning of the pandemic, most fighters were trying to stay positive and saying, no, this is a bit of a good thing. I can just focus on this now. But I've noticed a lot more and consistently with more fighter interviews, especially afterwards, they talk about, oh, well, I didn't really train for this fight. Just kind of hopefully made weight. I think, who was it? Well, just interviewed a fighter. He said, yeah, I did no grappling for this fight. Just because
Tanner Boser, was it? Tanner Boser said he did like barely any training.
No,
just
actually,
made sure he was in shape.
Tanner Boser had a really interesting thing. He said during the pandemic, though, because he couldn't get any real training, he actually dropped 15 pounds from just doing a lot of strength and conditioning on his own, because none of his coaches or gym or training partners were available. So he actually just gotten better, just physical shape. Not really learned any new skills or anything, and that turned out to be very successful for him. Just being much faster.
He did look in better shape, actually. He looked slimmer.
He said he dropped 15 pounds just from pandemic, just because he had nothing to do in his apartment. I was like, wow.
Yeah, so we've now got.
Is this the updated weights, Esther, on screen? Is everything updated?
Should be. It should have one for.
It looks good there.
Yep.
So
these are the updated weight. Not very many people have weighed in yet today.
This is gonna be interesting.
This slow burn.
Slow burn.
Yeah, slow burn. It might take the full 2 hours here, but usually, just so you know, usually the face-offs are after the weigh-in window. So even if we were to finish the face-offs in the next half hour or 45 minutes, they would still be at 11 a.m. Pacific. But this one seems like it might go the full 2 hours anyway. So either way, 11 a.m. We plan on the face-offs being at around 11 a.m. Pacific. It's pretty fluid, but usually the top of the hour after the weigh-ins are over. So unless all of these blank names here show up in the next 25 minutes, we're going to have the face-offs at 11. So now it's 9:34 a.m. local time, where Jose is in Las Vegas.
So on screen right now, I have from Tapology.com a list of all the fights that were scheduled to be on this card.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
quite a lot.
I didn't even put in the graphic on the bottom that Irene Aldana tested positive for COVID-19 and was pulled off the card last week.
They, of course, she was the main event.
Yes. That was the main event. And so Brunson Shahbazyan had been promoted to the main event. But there's been a lot of movement on this card since its announcement.
Yeah, I remember all these fights falling apart. I didn't realize they were all on the same card.
Yeah, so Yana Kunitskaya, she was supposed to fight Ketlin Vieira on this card too, and that got postponed. Well, Ketlin Vieira's out, yeah. So Yana is now fighting Yulia Stoliarenko, who, if you've ever seen her Invicta fights, woo! You should watch.
The one guy that we need is
Oh, where are the fights last night? I didn't get to catch any of them yet.
The Invicta fights?
So when he's done with
I didn't get to catch any of them. I was driving.
We watched the last 3 fights, and the main event was excellent. Co-main was good, but the main event. If you get a chance, watch the main event for Invicta last night. Excellent fight and fantastic submission. And I think the UFC has a future star in there if they eventually sign the winner of the Invicta main event. Which I won't spoil it for you.
Yeah, but so we're gonna go back. I'm just gonna reach back to March here. In March, Yulia Stoliarenko fought Lisa Forzosa at Invicta Phoenix Series 3 for the bantamweight championship. So, yeah, UFC just signed Invicta's bantamweight champ to fight Yana Kunitskaya, who was their former bantamweight champ. But Stoliarenko versus Forzosa is probably one of the bloodiest fights I've ever seen. And it was bonkers. Such a good fight. You should definitely go back and watch it on Fight Pass. Completely worth your time. All 25 minutes.
Did they use open scoring again?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, they did open scoring again, and I love open scoring. It's actually it's nice because again, I don't agree with the critics that say that there isn't drama. There's plenty of drama still, even with open scoring. And honestly, there shouldn't be drama about who is winning up to that point. I understand. I realize now that a lot of boxing people feel the same way. Like they want the drama from round to round. But can you imagine going 12 rounds and not having any idea? 12. Say you went 11 close rounds, and then you don't have any idea if you're doing okay or not.
No.
I don't know. That's like playing, 3/4 of a basketball game and then being like, "Hey, do you think we're winning?"
Feels like we're winning. my coach said I'm winning.
Casey,
So-
didn't you say you cover the score when you watch basketball? Is that what you told Dean Thomas?
I think he was
I was
joking.
joking.
I would certainly hope so.
I was like, imagine if we did other sports like we do MMA, where like I like to watch a whole basketball game. Then at the end, I try to figure out. I go on who felt like they won.
Sure.
I like which basketball team controlled the center of the court better.
That'd be a terrible way to win a basketball game.
That would be a terrible way.
Hey, court control matters. Court control
No,
matters.
it doesn't.
Oh yeah, it does.
It definitely does not.
When you're judging a basketball game, court control is it's
Judging
up
a
there.
basketball game.
Have you ever judged basketball, man? Come on.
I have. I judge all the players. We've watched basketball together. I called them cowards while I was screaming at this TV.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got movement.
Next to the scale, the other half of our main event, Derek Brunson.
Oh.
Well, exciting. You got Derek Brunson coming in next.
Just as a reminder, this is a 3-round main event because of the late notice. This would not be a 5-rounder.
Ooh, got the Cisco hair again.
Why does Cisco get the credit for that hair all the time? Was he the first person? I don't get it.
I thought it
he's
was
the
Rodman.
I think he's the most. Yeah, but Rodman had more than just one.
They had different colors, I know.
Derek Brunson weighing in.
Official weight 186 pounds for Derek Brunson.
186 for Derek Brunson. So your main event is set. Let's just update the graphics. Derek Brunson comes in at 186. Edmond Shahbazyan came in at 185.5 earlier
Next to the
today.
scale, Marcus Perez.
Oh, we've got Marcus Perez coming to the scale, who was originally scheduled to fight Eric Spicely. He will now be facing Charlie Ontiveros. Eric Spicely was unable to continue cutting weight. He put on his social medias that after his last loss to Durden Win, he got on antidepressants to combat the head trauma, and it made it hard for him to cut weight this time. Basically, just said it went horrible. So horrible.
To put it lightly.
It went horrible.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately.
Yeah.
However, they were able to find a very last-second replacement. So Marcus Perez coming to the scale. He will be facing Charlie Ontiveros.
Now, we're actually not sure if this is still going to be at, what is this, 185 originally, at least? Marcus
Yeah.
Perez is 85, yeah. So, yeah, we'll find out, I guess.
It says
Next to the scale, Marcus Perez.
it says 185 on the balance sheet, so yeah, find out.
$194.5, the official weight
What?
for Marcus Perez.
Okay, that's obviously a catch weight.
Yes.
Because he was way too excited about that.
Hey, Kaylee just said Perez Ontiveros is not 195 catch weight.
All right.
So, yeah, so I guess 190, the catch weight for that fight is going to be 196, I assume.
Was that the fighter that came out in the Joker
Yeah.
makeup the last time he fought?
Yes.
Of course it is.
Yes.
Oh, man. People are wearing masks, Casey. I can't tell who's who.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday, the lead singer of Graf Orlock sold Casey and I a scooter, and we couldn't tell who he was. He was like, yeah, I'm the lead singer of Graf Orlock. I was like, I you have a mask on. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what your face looks like.
So we have updated weights on our screen right now.
This is where the back tattoos with the names across the back come in handy.
Who do we have up now?
Straight ahead up there, man.
Official weight 145 pounds for Vince Cachero.
All right. So Vincent Cachero comes at 145. Let me just add that to the list here. And he will be facing Jamal Emmers, and he is actually filling in for Timur Valiev. Jose, do you know why Timur Valiev is out?
I do not, but I'll find out.
Okay. It's too bad because really like the way Timur Valiev fights.
Yeah, that was a big bummer. I hope it's well, whatever it is. I hope he's back soon.
So right now, for the main card, we're just waiting on Vicente Luque, Bobby Green, and Lando Venata. Frankie Cyans versus Jonathan Martinez is supposed to be a bantamweight bout. Jonathan Martinez came in at 140.5. We have yet to hear if it will be it will be moved to a catchweight. We'll find out for you soon. Jose is there on site in Las Vegas, and he'll let us know. And we've got a middleweight bout between Ed Herman and Gerald
No,
Mirshard.
not middleweight. 205.
Oh, 205, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. 205. Light heavyweight bout.
That they're going up.
Nathan Maness was supposed to be fighting Ray Borg, but he will instead face Johnny Munoz Jr., and that bout has been moved to a featherweight bout. Johnny Munoz Jr. came in at 145.5.
I hope someone told Nathan Maness that. Maness.
Marcus Perez was supposed to fight Eric Spicely. Eric Spicely was unable to continue cutting weight safely, so he had a horrible weight cut due to an interaction with his medication. So Marcus Perez came in at 194.5. It is now a 195-pound catchweight bout. And he'll be fighting Charlie Ontiveros. And we have Vincent Cachero in for Timur Valiev against Jamal Emmers. And the first fight of the night, both men weighed in. Chris Gutierrez and Cody Durden both made 135.5.
If you got a chance to watch Between the Links, Jed Meshew, who won that episode, makes a very, very good case how Ed Herman versus Gerald Mirshard will be one of the best fights of the year. 285ers coming at the 205, who are two guys known for their grappling. It's going to be a sloppy, tired kickboxing match in a small cage, which is very exciting.
Ontiveros 195? Yeah, thank you. UFCPR just confirming Perez Ontiveros is a 195 catch weight because they gave us the bout sheet and it says middleweight.
Yep. Okay, great. So Perez versus Ontiveros is a 195 catch weight. And Herman Mirschart for sure. These two guys are mainly grapplers, so of course we're going to get a sloppy striking fight. Actually, last night's Invicta main event, both with the co-main event, both fighters were kind of known more for grappling, but it kind of ended up being more of a striking match until the end there.
Best saxophone player in the UFC.
True.
Official weight 204.5 for Gerald Mirshard.
All right. Gerald Mirshard comes in at 204.5 for this light heavyweight bout against Ed Herman.
I'm pretty confident it's gonna be the manliest fight on the card. Just two men.
Nah, I disagree. Although, again, it's just too bad you can't take the saxophone into the cage.
Reebok. I blame Reebok. Their anti-saxophone agenda. Yeah, I said it.
Call up EA UFC. Maybe they can get it.
The good news is...
Can you imagine if that was part of the celebration in the game? If he wins, he gets to play his saxophone.
Well, they're adding all kinds of weird stuff. If you read the report when I got all the stuff from the EA stuff, I was in that conference call where they were unveiling everything. Mm-hmm. They're adding like wrestling, like the ear guards in wrestling you can wear into the, like you can fight with them on.
Oh.
There's like chains, there's do-rags, there's skull caps, and there's all kinds of like weird stuff that you can wear when you're fighting.
So essentially it's UFC 1 mode.
Yes.
Okay.
If
you could play with one boxing glove, that's all that really matters.
No, I said, like, is this gonna get to the point where like, can I wear like Amanda Nunes's lioness mask into the octagon, and will like that give me like +5 to my strength or stamina or endurance or anything? He's like, and the guy was just like, no, there's no magical items inside UFC EA.
Bummer.
You're bumming me out here, guy.
Can we talk about how Amanda Nunes is a lioness, yet she wears a lion mask?
Yeah.
It's just a little detail. I don't know.
You know what? They probably don't make lioness masks as often, though, I would say.
Honestly, next time she fights, when she weighs in, she should put a goat mask on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Looks like we've got some possible movement.
Yeah, I heard Luke's name, but I'm not 100%.
Okay. Great.
Next to the scale, Nate Maness.
Oh.
Manus.
Just kidding. Not Maness. Manus.
What are those tattoos?
144.5. Straight ahead up there.
144.5, the official weight for Nate Maness.
All right, 144.5.
What are those tattoos he has on his wrist? Did you see those through the camera?
There's no one on. There's no one on right now.
Not super
No,
clearly.
did you see them when he? It's like Wolverine slash marks across his body, and it looks like they're bleeding. They look so well done. It looked like he actually got gashed up.
So he survived an attack from a Wolverine? Is that what happened?
No, he didn't. Not a Wolverine, just Wolverine, the character.
Well,
How do you know it's not a Wolverine?
rather than the Wolverine.
Well, this man had 3 cleanly put slash marks, all identical length apart, similar to Wolverine. So it's clearly made by a metal object, a la Wolverine's adamantium claws.
So
Okay.
Nate. So Nate Maness. How do you say his name again? I forgot. Nate.
I think he said Nate Maness.
Maness. Okay. So
But,
so he was attacked by
no.
the Wolverine and survived.
Yes.
Okay.
Not only
All
did
right,
he get
so-
attacked and survived, he has the scars to prove it.
In case people went like, yeah, right. Show me the scars, Nate.
Yeah, right.
You really got.
Right.
So originally, Nate was supposed to face Ray Borg, who was announced to be out of the bout and replaced by Johnny Munoz Jr.
Oh,
today.
Mike Heck says it is Maness. Is that what?
Maness. So if you're just joining us, this is Esther Lynn for MMAfighting.com. We've got Jose Youngs over there at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, and EKC Leiden in the truck. We are almost a full hour into the weigh-in window here. The very first person to weigh in this morning was Edmond Shabazzian, correct?
No.
No. Oh,
No.
no. Good try, Esther.
I believe it was Jennifer Maya.
Oh, Jennifer Maya, sorry, and then Edmund. Okay. So, Jennifer Maya, who normally has had trouble making weight, actually came in under the championship limit at 124.5. So for the main card, we've got Derek Brunson coming in at 186, Edmen Shahbazyan at 185.5. Joanne Calderwood came in at 126 against Jennifer Maya in their co-main event bout, 124.5. We are waiting on Vicente Luque, but Randy Brown has weighed in at 170.5. Neither Bobby Green nor Lana Venata have come yet, but in the next bout, Kevin Holland versus Trevin Giles, both men made weight. Kevin Holland coming in at 184 and Trevin Giles coming in at 185. Frankie Cyans versus Jonathan Martinez is marked as a bantamweight bout on our official card here from the UFC, but Jonathan Martinez came in at 140.5, and we have not yet been informed if that is to be moved to a catch weight. Herman versus Gerald Mirshard. This one is going to be contested at light heavyweight, and Gerald Mirshard came in at 204.5. Nathan Maness came in at 144.5. He was originally slated to fight Ray Borg, but he will be fighting Johnny Munoz Jr., who came in at 145.5.
And that fight was originally supposed to be a bantamweight fight.
Yes, originally a bantamweight. Marcus Perez versus Charlie Ontiveros. Marcus Perez was supposed to fight Eric Spicely at middleweight, but Eric Spicely had a horrible weight cut. So Marcus Perez, 194.5. This will be a catchweight bout, a 195 catchweight.
Let me interrupt you real quick. I see Vicente Luque about to hit this. He's standing right there at the door.
Oh, fantastic. We've got Vicente Luque on the way.
Next to the scale, Vicente Luque.
most metal fighter on the card.
$170 and a half, the official weight for Vicente Luque.
All right, 170 and a half. That bout is now also official. Let's update that graphic.
Luque has been in so many Fight of the Year contenders.
Yeah.
Like, they don't quite win Fight of the Year, but like in your honorable mentions, like you will always see Vicente Luque fights.
And you'll always see that he won by stoppage in a lot of them too. Like, it's a back and forth war that he just survived at the end, and the other guy's body just fell apart.
His fight versus Brian Barberena is one of my favorite fights ever. Just out of nowhere. Just like, I just wasn't expecting that fight to be what it was, and it was just like amazing.
I think the only one who predicted that fight was our former coworker, Sean Al-Shadi, during our preview show. He's like, Vicente Luque is going to be the star of this whole card.
And Brian Barberena walked out to Baby Shark.
Sure did.
Yes, he did.
That was a good night in MMA.
Do you remember? Do you remember what Crone Gracie walked out to?
The Purge.
Yes.
Fight card?
The Purge soundtrack.
Purge sirens. Not the soundtrack, just the sirens.
Just a wonderful walkout.
And then Till on last Saturday walked out to nothing, which I really actually
That was
enjoyed
awesome.
because he had said that Sweet Carolina is for the fans. So without fans, what's the point? The silence was, I think, a lot more intimidating.
I really wish the announcers weren't talking either. They just, like, 2 minutes of just silence and just.
I think before his Kelvin fight, he said, I'm trying to remember this correctly, in his post-fight scrum, he walked out to Sweet Carolina for that fight, and that's really important to, like, walking out in Liverpool, and someone asked him, like, why did you walk out to it this time? He said he was so indifferent that he forgot to respond to the person asking what song he wanted, that they just went with the last song he used. So, outside of fighting Liverpool, I bet Darren Till doesn't think about his walkout song often.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad he was insistent on it being silent this time, though, because you know he really had to insist in order to make that happen.
Did Mark Hunt do that once?
Who?
Mark Hunt, did he do that once?
I don't recall anyone doing it in the UFC, to be honest, but I'm sure it might have happened. Maybe by accident. Maybe someone kicked over the CD player. But
Do you remember when someone was pranking Rory McDonald by picking all his walkout music?
oh, is that when he walked
Yeah,
out to
that's-
Saint Anger?
Yeah.
Oh
No, I thought it was true that he knew Metallica.
no, I think he actually
and-
did like that.
He did, but someone was like picking songs that he didn't pick, and he's like, because some UFC had his old phone number, so the person that had his old phone number was like, "Yeah, walk out to this." So then Rory McDonald would hear his walkout song for the first time, making the walkout.
Yeah, I mean, I love watching Rory McDonald fight, and I can't wait to see him again. But man, it took me a while to get over the fact that he walked out to Saint Anger. So, Jimmy Johnson saying that we have the worst analyst. I guess Jimmy Johnson loves Saint Anger. There
There's only one good song on that album, and that's Some Kind of Monster.
All right, your mic. I'm turning your mic off.
They didn't even have a bass player during the recording of that album.
It sounds so bad.
It's real bad.
I wonder where Bobby Green and Land of Venata are. But we still have 59 minutes, so we got plenty of time. But let's get hurry it up a little. We've got it's a Friday. There's other things to do. Mainly our preview show later today for this card. Again, this is Esther Lynn for MMAfighting.com. We've got Jose Youngs over there at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas with this live video feed for us, and he's updating us on the many changes this card has had. But I will go ahead and update you one more time. Just in case you're wondering, Jonathan Martinez came in at 140.5. He missed weight for his bantamweight bout against Frankie Cyans, but we have not yet heard from the UFC whether or not this will be moved to a catchweight. However, if you are looking further down at Perez versus Ontiveros and wondering why Marcus Perez came in at 194.5, noting that there is no such thing as the 195 weight class in the UFC, you are correct, because that is a catch weight, because Charlie Ontiveros is filling in for Eric Spicely. He was called this morning, so they didn't have him cut all the way to 185, so this will be a 195-pound catch weight. And so yeah, Charlie Ontiveros in for Eric Spicely, Johnny Munoz in for Ray Borg, and you'll notice that Nathan Maness and Johnny Munoz is a featherweight bout, and the Borg Maness fight would have been at bantamweight, but again, last minute replacement. And actually, so Jamal Emmers was supposed to face Timur Valiev. Timur Valiev has been replaced by Vincent Cachero, who came in at 145 just a few minutes ago. So. We got gold caps in the comments saying that Ontiveros is normally a welterweight. LOL. We'll see how that goes. I guess that's why he was able to make it to 195 on a couple hours notice here. I'd like to hear from the people in the comments here who you think will be the fight of the night. What are your predictions for fight of the night? I personally am very excited for Calderwood versus Maia. I had wanted to see Joanne Calderwood go ahead and challenge for the title, but since that's not going to happen for a bit, since Shevchenko's out with an injury. She's out with an injury, correct?
Say it again.
Is Shevchenko out with an injury?
I think she's just recovering from an injury or surgery or something, so
okay.
she
She's
just
recovering
needed more time to get ready.
Yes. So, in the meantime, Calderwood had said yesterday at Virtual Media Day, someone had asked her if she was, fighting just because she had to, for money or whatever. She just, no, I just need to fight. Fighters need to fight. Wanted to stay active. So, we've got votes for fight of the night here. Munoz and Maness. We've got, of course, Luque Brown. Yeah, no brainer for that. Vicente Luque is probably in fight of the night on almost every card he's on. I bet if you're a fighter on this card and you see Vicente Luque's name on your card, you're like, man, am I not going to get that bonus this time? Bobby Green and Lando Venata should be pretty fun.
We fought to a draw last time.
Yeah. And of course, Ed Herman versus Gerald Mirshard. For some reason, I really imagine just like a very wild, sloppy, crazy bout there.
Ed Herman is one of those fighters that I grew up with, like the Liebens and the Alessio Sakaras, and those fighters that they pop up and you just forget how long they've been in the UFC.
No.
Lieben and Sakara, obviously Lieben and Sakara aren't in the UFC anymore.
He's part of that same generation. He's actually, I can't believe he's still fighting.
I can't either. In a new weight class too. Like he fought in middleweight for so long and then jumped up to 205. He's on a 2-fight winning streak. People forget that.
That is nuts.
his last 3 losses were to Vellante, Holloway, Krylov, and before that it was Brunson, Leitzis, and Jacare. And then he's beating everyone else. So he's like losing to the top 10, top 15, and beating everyone else.
That is weird.
He was also, if I'm not mistaken, one of those only UFC fighters to jump over to the Strikeforce, the last Strikeforce card, right?
Yes,
when
he
they were
did.
trying to match. So he went and fought Jacare, if I'm not mistaken. And then, so he was still technically a UFC fighter. He was just doing the UFC a favor and hopping over to fight one Strikeforce fight.
Correct. Yeah, because we just needed to fill the card a little bit for that last bout. Sorry, for the last card. So yeah, no, that was an interesting event too. Jacare handled him though.
He did.
Yeah. I was going to get into that part yet, but he stepped up.
He did step up.
I think the main event was what was the original main event? Is this supposed to be Rockhold and Larkin? And or was it Melendez and Healy?
Wow, you're going way back now. This is
My guess would be Rockhold versus someone, and he got injured. Sorry, but Luke Rockhold gets injured a lot.
he didn't have that many injuries in Strikeforce, did he?
He did. They just maybe they weren't announced because the fights just never got announced. But he didn't fight as often as he should have been fighting.
Oh, we're going back to 2013 when he fought.
Yeah, that was the last Strikeforce show, 2013, Oklahoma City.
Mark Wart versus Safadine.
Yeah. Josh Barnett fought Nandor. I remember that.
Yeah.
And DC fought
Staring.
Dion
Staring?
Yeah, Dion
Yeah,
Staring.
yeah.
Or Starring, whatever. It's spelled Staring, but everyone kept calling him Starring, so whatever.
I just remember interviewing Josh before that fight, and I go, "Is this like why are you taking this fight if it's his debut on the last card? No one knows who he is." And Josh Barnett was like, his nickname is the Hun. That's the most metal name I've ever heard, so I have to reclaim my title as the most metal fighter in Strikeforce. And I was like, well, there's a reason to fight, I guess.
Yeah,
and
I remember
he gets
actually.
a pretty fat paycheck to
Yes,
fight.
and he got a pay.
Yes.
I think you want to fight to get paid, but that was just he was having fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that fight ended up not being super exciting, but I think Barnett had said he had gotten ill that week, and I actually I was there in Oklahoma City working as well, and I also got a cold or flu or something. I don't know. I was sick that week too.
Barnett
Going around.
sub Nandor in the round. It was pretty one-sided.
Mm.
I guess
City
it wasn't
feeling
exciting since there was no suspense. And DC just DC at heavyweight was just way overmatched his opponent. Was that the fight Derek Safadine just leg kicked the heck out of Nate Marquardt and just wound up winning a decision?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's if anyone's just tuning in, you might not know, but Johnny Munoz Jr. is in for Ray Borg against Nathan Maness, and that has now been moved to a featherweight bout. And Marcus Perez versus Eric Spicely is off. Eric Spicely's out. He had a medication-related weight cut issue, and so Marcus Perez is going to be facing Charlie Ontiveros, and that's going to be at a catch weight of 195 instead. And Jamal Emmers was originally scheduled to fight Timur Valiev, but he will now be facing Vincent Cachero at featherweight. So, the main event, both men have weighed in. Derek Brunson, Edmond Shabazzian. Derek Brunson came in at 186, Edmond Shahbazyan at 185.5, Joanne Calderwood at 126, Jennifer Maya at 124.5 in this flyweight bout. Vicente Luque versus Randy Brown. Both men came in at 170.5, and that should be a very exciting fight. We are still waiting on Bobby Green and Lando Venata. We've got about 48 minutes left, so they still have time. Kevin Holland versus Trevin Giles. Kevin Holland came in at 184, and Trevin Giles came in at 185. Frankie Cyans has not yet weighed in, but Jonathan Martinez, his opponent, came in at 140.5. Not yet sure if that's a catch weight. We'll find out. But according to the official card we were given from the UFC just minutes before the weigh-ins, it was a bantamweight bout. But Ed Herman versus Gerald Mirshard at light heavyweight. He's normally middleweight fighters fighting light heavyweight. Gerald Mirshard came in at 204.5. Nathan Manis came in at 144.5. Johnny Munoz came in at 145.5. Marcus Perez again, 194.5. No, he did not miss weight. That is a catch weight against Charlie Ontiveros. Jamal Emmers has not weighed in yet, but Vincent Cachero made 145. And then the first bout of the night, Chris Gutierrez versus Cody Durden in the bantamweight division, 135.5. Both men made 135.5. Yes, and Borg had missed a card last month? Yes, last month. Due to family emergency. And so I'm not sure about this time, but he's been replaced by Johnny Munoz Jr. And we've got a bit over 45 minutes left for the remaining 6 fighters to weigh in. Six fighters left to weigh in.
This has been, I think we got spoiled with all the Fight Island weigh-ins flying by.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, even the Vegas cards before this that I was at flew by too.
That's true. That's true. Maybe we are, further into pandemic summer here. So.
Pandemic summer, which will become pandemic fall soon.
So, again, we've got about 45 minutes left. We're still waiting on Bobby Green, Lando Venata, Frankie Cyans, Ed Herman, Charlie Ontiveros, and Jamal Emmers. We've had 3 fights replaced today. Go ahead, Truck.
No, I was just saying Charlie Ontiveros, as far as we know, just received his notice he'll be fighting this morning.
Yes.
So
so that will be a catch weight of 195.
195. So
plenty of time still for the last 6 guys. Of course, we would prefer if they showed up early so that we've got time to set up for the face-offs and all that, but, can't make people do things when you're in a different city.
Bathroom is right down the hall.
So, Esther, are you saying if you were in Vegas, these guys would be showing up on time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'd be standing right behind them with a prod.
Yeah.
I would just be shaking my fist at them. They'd get
shaking my fist. Yes.
They'd get the message.
And just for the record, guys, they're not late. These guys are completely on time.
Yeah, no, they're not late at all. You've got a 2-hour weigh-in window. You might as well use it, right? The thing is, if you miss weight at the end of the 2 hours, you don't have additional time, or you're not supposed to anyway. So,
You get fined.
you know, yeah. We've got an 11-fight card tomorrow night at UFC Apex. Headlined by Derek Brunson versus Edmen Shahbazyan. They are replacing Holly Holm and Irene Aldana when Irene Aldana tested positive for COVID-19 last week. But however, even though they're the main event, it is still a 3-round main event, not a 5-round main event. So Derek Brunson versus Edmond Shabazzian, 3-round main event at middleweight. Your co-main is Joanne Calderwood versus Jennifer Maia at flyweight. Joanne Calderwood was originally scheduled to face Valentina Shevchenko for the flyweight title, but Shevchenko is recovering from surgery or some kind of medical procedure. Vicente Luque versus Randy Brown at welterweight. Should be a crazy fight. And then we're waiting on Bobby Green versus Lana Venata. They are meeting each other at lightweight here. And rounding out the main card, we've got Kevin Holland and Trevin Giles. Both coming in under the middleweight. We had Kevin Holland at 184 and Trevin Giles at 185. Giles?
I always said Giles.
Oh yeah, Giles. So one more time, this is Esther Lynn for MMAfighting.com. We've got Jose Youngs over there in Las Vegas at the UFC Apex. And we've got Casey Leiden in the truck here handling...
Ed Herman is here.
Oh, Ed Herman is here. Fantastic.
Lots of excitement for Ed Herman showing up.
Ed Herman. £206, the official weight for Ed Herman.
All right, Ed Herman coming in at 206 pounds. Update that graphic for y'all.
Lots of Ed Herman fans in the YouTube comments.
Are they fans of his tattoos?
Fans of every part of him. Fans of just what Ed Herman represents.
What does Ed Herman represent?
Winning. Toughness, grit. America.
Ed Herman represents America with his Japanese style tattoos.
We're a multicultural nation. This is a nation built on diversity, man.
Well, I'm just basing off your views of nitpicking Amanda Nunes' masks. I am nitpicking Ed Herman's representation of America and his tattoos.
Japan doesn't represent America. We're a multicultural nation, man. We're
okay.
Melting pot, bro.
Dude, Casey, what's going on behind you? You got some guard work going on.
There's just a man with a chainsaw running through.
Is it Fast and the Furious behind you?
All right,
I'm sorry. What?
I'm gonna attack this chainsaw guy. Hold on.
Okay. Joseph Boza, while we wait, crazy that Sarah Kaufman didn't get the call to fight Yana Kunitskaya next week after Ketlin Vieira had to drop out. Yes, that is crazy. They ended up signing a whole new fighter, Yulia Stoliarenko, who Her last bout against Lisa Verzosa, fantastic. You should definitely check it out. But still disappointed they didn't just sign Sarah Kaufman since she's
In town.
free, and she's in town.
She's right there.
She's there.
They don't have to pay for a
Training
hotel.
with Joanne Calderwood, so
They know she's COVID free. She's right there.
Yep, and she passed her coronavirus test yesterday. Rocco in the chat reminding everybody to gamble responsibly.
Is that with other people's money?
Thanks.
I
Thank
hate
you.
gambling.
Yeah, I don't really gamble, but only because it just kind of feels wrong when you're kind of on this side as a journalist. It feels,
Is that why
I know a lot of
you don't gamble on other sports though?
No, I don't. I just don't gamble in general. But that's all right. So
Why are you scared?
let's get back to the card here. What? What do you say?
You scared?
Am I scared?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm bad at gambling. I will go ahead and admit I am bad at gambling. I like to bet with my heart, which is not a good idea. I have a hard time betting against fighters that I know or like, even if I think they're gonna lose. So just not good at it. Not good at it. But this is Esther Lynn. I am on the microphone at home in Los Angeles, or Inglewood, rather. And we've got Jose Youngs over there in Las Vegas on the scene at UFC Apex.
Hello.
And as far as updates from Vegas here this morning, we've got a lot of last-minute replacements. 3 fights were changed today. If you're just joining us, Nathan Maness was supposed to fight Ray Borg. He is now fighting Johnny Munoz Jr., now at featherweight. Marcus Perez was supposed to fight Eric Spicely, but he is now fighting Charlie Ontiveros, and this is going to be a 195-pound catchweight. And Jamal Emmers was originally scheduled to face Timur Valiev, and he is now facing Vincent Cachero at featherweight. Got a commenter saying that he typed in Esther Lynn on YouTube, came with some anime podcast. Girl, that's because you spelled my name wrong. It's Lin. But also, Esther Lynn is a very popular name. In my
Neighborhood?
high school here in Southern California, we had 4 Esther Lynns. So it is it's not going to be easy. There's a lot of Esther Lynns. And guess what? I think we're all Asian too. So
You're the only Esther I've ever met.
really?
So the fact that there were 4 Esther Lynns, like not just Esther's, but Esther Lynns, just blows my mind.
Yeah, there were 4 Esther Lynns in my school. And actually, to know a decent amount of Esters, actually. I think got a little crew of other ladies with old lady names. You know what name I haven't heard in a while? Betty.
Betty.
Betty's a good name.
Betty's like an old lady name.
Betty's a dope name.
I know. Betty's a great name, but I haven't heard anybody name that in like a whole generation.
Next to the scale, Lando Venado.
All right, Lando's here.
Official weight 155 and a half. Orlando Venado.
55 and a half. For groovy Lando Venata. Austin Broussard, nope. The main event is actually 3 rounds because it had been promoted at such a last second. Originally, the main event was supposed to be Holm versus Aldana, but since Aldana tested positive for COVID, they promoted Brunson versus Shahbazyan to the main event, and that will be only 3 rounds.
Also, I will plug this because I don't think we've mentioned it. I'll be at the Contender Series on Tuesday, so we'll have more fun content for you from weigh-ins Monday and post-fight interviews Tuesday.
Yes, we will have so much for you. We've got preview show later today. We've got fight coverage for you tomorrow night with Jose there in Las Vegas, and he will also be there. Was it Tuesday, you said?
Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender, yeah.
Yeah, so Tuesday he will be there for Contender Series. And then are you staying through the Lewis?
No, I don't think so. I don't believe
okay,
so.
Never mind.
I don't believe so. Unless they want me to.
Are you assigning work, Esther, right now? Is that what's going on?
Yes, I've updated the weights. So yeah, Jose will be at Contender Series for the premiere of this season of the Contender Series.
I'm excited. I like coming to the Contender Series. I won't get to sit inside this time, inside the Apex, which is fine. But I've covered a few of them, and they are very enjoyable to watch and interact with the fighters post-fight.
Wait, why won't you be able to be inside the?
Well, I can.
Apex?
I would just have to. So this week, as all of you guys know from previous weeks, the Vegas cards, I normally, in case you did it, we have to go Saturday morning and we have to quarantine for like 8 hours in the Holiday Inn. That they're not doing that anymore. We are getting tested Friday, and so we don't have to quarantine Saturday morning. I have to get tested again Sunday to do the weigh-ins on Monday, but then if I want to go to the fights on Tuesday, I have to go quarantine for 8 or 9 hours Tuesday morning to sit cage side for the Contender Series.
Oh.
So I guess I could, but I would have to quarantine for half the day.
What do you do during that time? Do you nap?
During the quarantine, I just watch stuff on my phone or computer and take a nap. Pretty much it.
You just live the best life then.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's
just no internet, so using your phone's data, the good stuff.
They gave me an internet code when I stayed there. I think it was just you.
Oh. But yeah, definitely just me. They're like, oh, this kid has good enough hair already. He doesn't need internet too.
No, this is true. Yeah, they looked at me like, bro, you need a haircut. Here's the internet code. I was like, oh.
You go Google map yourself a barber.
So in terms of news, we do not have a reason why Timur Valiev is off the card. It just says that he's been forced to withdraw.
Few people have said it's visa issues, but we haven't got that confirmed yet.
Okay. And then Ray Borg, it just says he's also not competing for undisclosed reasons. Eric Spicely has been replaced by Charlie Ontiveros, but Eric Spicely took to social media to let everybody know he just had a really horrible weight cut due to an interaction with his medication that he started to combat head trauma after his loss to Durden win. So that is unfortunate. Wish him a speedy
He was
recovery.
one of the fighters I was most looking forward to watching. So yeah, that's a bummer all around.
Yeah, you got your Rhode Island pride.
Yep. We don't get a lot of big name athletes, major sports. So we'll take them when we can. I think Tom Lawler at one point claimed Rhode Island when he was walking out. I think one of his business days. So I think he was the last one outside of Eric Spicely to claim. Oh, I guess we had Sean Soriano. He's no longer in the UFC. Andrei Sukumtov lived in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, for whatever reason. He's no longer in the UFC, so it's running thin.
Rhode Island talk with MMAfighting.com.
There's not enough time. 2 hours isn't enough time to give you all my Rhode Island knowledge.
How long does it take to drive from one side of Rhode Island to the other?
Depends on if the light is red or green. That's the joke. About 45 minutes to an hour if you go north to south.
Jeez. All right.
If you go east to west, it should be. There's less land, but you have to go if you know how Rhode Island looks, it's like a high heel boot. So there's the Narragansett Bay that cuts it right up the middle of it. So you'd have to go over a lot of bridges. So that could take a lot longer. But north to south, it's 45 minutes to an hour.
Wow, that's crazy. I think that's how long it takes for me to drive to like Hollywood.
Oh, when we drove from your house to Anaheim, that's Rhode Island.
Okay.
That's Rhode Island. More people than the state of Montana, though.
Wow.
Home of the lovely Viola Davis, Central Falls, Rhode Island.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Awesome. That's
Central
cool.
Falls was at one point the most densely populated city in the Western Hemisphere because it is a registered city, not a town, and it is 1 square mile. But it is still technically a city.
What's more of an island, Rhode Island or Fight Island?
So Rhode Island, technically the full state name of Rhode Island is the state of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations. Now, if you know anything about the geography of Rhode Island, there's one big island in Narragansett Bay with Newport. That is technically Rhode Island, and everything outside of it is Providence Plantations. So in terms of what's bigger, I would imagine Rhode Island has more land mass than Fight Island.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go get some more coffee while we wait.
Can we shut the stream down? Are we good?
Yeah, you're good.
We're good. All right.
We still got a lot of fighters to wait. I gotta get some more coffee. Give me a second.
But the people already got what they needed.
Yeah. Home of Hasbro. So G.I. Joe, Mr. Potato Head, all that fun stuff. You're welcome.
I only know Rhode Island has where Lightning Bolt is from.
What? What a bizarre thing.
Well, because they're in the 2000s. Rhode Island was known for all its noise rock from Providence.
Yeah.
I think is Black Dice from Rhode Island too?
I don't know 100%, but the Talking Heads are the biggest band from.
Oh yeah, Talking Heads, of course.
They're from RISD. So our claim to fame is Family Guy, the Talking Heads,
and Lightning Bolt.
Lightning Bolt, longest professional baseball game ever. The Kentucky Red Sox beat the Rochester Red Wings 3-2 in 33 innings.
Ooh,
I guess Taylor Swift just put a song out about it.
We have quite an offensive YouTube comment. Tell this fool to get off Google. I think he's implying that you don't actually know these facts about Rhode Island, that you had to look them up.
I do actually. My mother was part of the...
Well, I know you know this, but people online are claiming you're just like going on Wikipedia, which, no.
Nah, man. I wrote the Wikipedia.
Yeah, you are Wikipedia for Rhode Island.
Yeah. My mom was on the board for the Historical Society. So, fun fact. There you go. 13th state should have been first. But we decided we wanted to hold out for the Bill of Rights. You're welcome, Planet Earth.
How many Rhode Island tattoos do you have?
0, but I'm gonna get one.
You can get like.
So
You're gonna get like the
Rhode
same size, like just.
So Rhode Island, I believe, I don't know if Delaware or Hawaii is like this, but Rhode Island only has one area code. So like, you know how LA or California has like a million area codes. If you see 401 in an area code, that is the only Rhode Island. So no other state, from what I know of, has only one throughout the entire state. So Rhode Island, I think I'd get 401 if I get a tattoo.
Okay, the chainsaw guy is getting near me again. I have a few people asking how did Jojo Calderwood look when she weighed in. What did you think?
Well, according to Jojo, who replied to our tweet, she said, what did she write? She said, "Man, I look buff." So those are her words, not mine. So I'll have to agree with her. Joanne Calderwood looked buff on the scale.
Okay. So for in YouTube comments, you're asking about JoJo. She looked buff, and yeah, she looks like she made weight with relative ease. But more importantly, Jennifer Maia also made the 125-pound, actually 126-pound weight limit. She came under championship weight.
This is her first fight since her Chukagian loss, right?
I believe so, yes.
Well, she also missed weight for that fight in Madison Square Garden.
All right, what I missed?
We were commenting that Joanne Calderwood responded to our tweet of her weighing in, and her assessment of how she looked on the scale was, "Man, I look buff." So we're gonna agree with the actual fighter when commenters are asking how she looked. The answer is buff, according to the fighter herself.
Yeah, there's a picture on her Instagram, or Sarah Kaufman's Instagram of them. Yeah, Sarah Kaufman's they were cutting weight together, and they both have awesome abs in this shot. But Sarah Kaufman was saying that it's like a before and after pic of UK skin before being in Vegas and after, because Sarah Kaufman is super pale, and Joanne Calderwood, after years of living in Las Vegas, is now finally tan. So. Yeah, Sarah Kaufman is like bright white.
Charles Barkley said it best. You're not white, you're clear. Looks like we're not going to have time between weigh-ins and stare-downs like the last two Fight Island cards.
So we have Esther. Can you kind of break down who we have left in these last 19 minutes or so?
Yep. In those last 19 minutes, we've got Bobby Green left to weigh in, who's facing Lando Venata at lightweight. We were still waiting on Frankie Cyans, who is supposed to be facing Jonathan Martinez, who came in at 140.5. We haven't yet been told if that's a catchweight bout. But barring that, we were originally on the card that we were given from the UFC right before the weigh-in started. They were supposed to be bantamweight. However, we're waiting on Charlie Ontiveros, who is supposed to be facing Marcus Perez. Marcus Perez was originally facing Eric Spicely, who was unable to make the weigh-ins. So that is going to be contested at a catch weight of 195. And then we're also waiting on Jamal Emmers, who was supposed to be facing Timur Valiev, but will now be facing Vincent Cachero at featherweight. We got in the comments of the chat here, Money Marcus writing Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Yeah, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. It's Pawtucket, but yeah,
Sorry.
former.
I'm not from Rhode Island. I don't know.
Former home of the Pawtucket Red Sox. They've now moved to Worcester, Massachusetts, and they are the Worcester Red Sox, which was a very heartbreaking moment for Rhode Islanders. That was a very important ballpark and team that the community really, really loved. I was telling Casey, they beat the Rochester Red Wings 3-2 in 33 innings way back in the day. So the longest professional baseball game ever recorded. A young prospects in Wade Boggs and Cal Ripken were on those teams. So yeah, that's a real sad thing. Pawtucket, basically, there's no reason to go to Pawtucket anymore.
Aw, really? There's no reason to go to Pawtucket?
Well, I mean, they do have a warehouse where fun fact, if you have a Monopoly board and you lose Monopoly pieces, you can call and you can get a replacement, just the pieces shipped to you. And that warehouse is in Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Oh, all right.
So if you need replacement Monopoly pieces, they're coming from Rhode Island. Because Hasbro was created in Rhode Island. So Mr. Potato Head, G.I. Joe, all that good stuff, you're welcome, everyone.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
I think the first G.I. Joe movie had their premiere because the Children's Hospital in Rhode Island is the Hasbro Children's Hospital. So I think all the actors went and met all the kids.
Yeah, you guys are getting knowledge. Knowledge.
Yeah. Our home arena is you guessed it, the Dunkin' Donuts Center, which has never held a UFC event and probably never will. I think
close to Boston, yeah.
It's only maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Not even just to Boston, but to the arena. Like you can take a train there from a province. So you take the T lines. You can take the train to Central Station and then hop on the whatever line to the TD Garden. So yeah, there's never gonna hold off UFC unless someone gets really big and famous from Rhode Island, and they give them a hometown fight. We got someone coming. I can't see who.
Next to the scale, Jamal Emmers.
Oh, cool. We got Jamal Emmers.
Jamal Emmers should be weighing in under the 146-pound weight limit.
Looking real skinny.
Official weight 146 for Jamal Emmers.
All right, 146 even. So
Thank you, baby.
So the first two fights of the night are settled. Got Jamal Emmers versus Vincent Cachero at featherweight. Jamal Emmers just came in at 146. His opponent, Vincent Cachero, came in earlier at 145. So we are now waiting on three more fighters.
One thing
Bobby Green, Frankie Cyans, and Charlie Ontiveros. Go ahead.
One thing I'm very curious about, obviously Frankie Cyans, I'm not sure if he's still cutting to 135 or because right now technically he could tell the UFC, let me just weigh in at 140 and then the fight is good to go, but maybe he's still trying to make that 136-pound limit to get that extra 20-30% he'll get from Jonathan Martinez's fight purse for him missing weight.
Correct. For those asking, someone was asking what Vincent Cachero's record is. He is 7-2. He's normally a bantamweight, but he was a last-minute replacement here, filling in for Timur Valiev.
Who was he pulled off the car yesterday? Timur?
Yes.
At least we found out about it yesterday.
Yeah, we found out about it yesterday, but it was confirmed today. So. the Nathan Maness versus Ray Borg fight is now Nathan Maness versus Johnny Munoz Jr. And this is interesting. Johnny Munoz Jr. is undefeated at 10-0. So should be interesting to see how that one shakes out. Again, we're waiting on Charlie Ontiveros, Frankie Cyans, and Bobby Green. We've got not a ton of time left now.
Now,
12
Jose,
minutes and 30 seconds.
Jose, so right now the fighters are staying and cutting weight at the Fighter Hotel, and these weigh-ins are at the UFC Apex, correct?
Correct.
So
Correct.
that would mean that they have to coordinate a ride with the UFC. Are they? Is it a bubble still, kind of like with the hotel?
That's what as far as I know. No, I haven't been told anything differently. But I haven't heard anything.
You're gonna have to speak up, Jose. Sorry.
Stop. Hold on. I saw some fighters, but I think I see Frankie Cyans sitting over there, but I can't be 100%. Everyone's wearing masks. So, but yeah, as far as I heard, it's still a bubble situation. I think I see Frankie Cyans sitting there with a big bottle of fluids.
Our youngest turned 19 in May.
Next to the scale, Frankie Cyans.
All right.
Arizona native Frankie Cyans.
One
136, the official weight for Frankie Cyans.
We will wait to hear from our man on the ground there, Jose Youngs, as to how much Jonathan Martinez will be fined, but it's typically around 20 or 30%.
Yeah, and lately they've been waiting until the end of the weigh-ins to provide us that information.
All right, so there you have it. Frankie Cyans came in at 136. His opponent, Jonathan Martinez, missed weight and actually came in at 140.5.
I think I see another fighter.
Next to the scale, Bobby Green.
Bobby Green up.
Even. 156 pounds, the official weight for Bobby Green.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. 156. I just noticed he had I can't tell if it's Goku or Vegeta, but he has I think it's Vegeta on his rib.
Huh. All right. Last fighter. We're waiting on Charlie Ontiveros, who was just called this morning. So, got to very quickly make 195. Again, we're waiting on Charlie Ontiveros, who is meeting Marcus Perez at a catch weight of 195. Charlie Ontiveros is in for Eric Spicely, who had difficulties with his weight cut. You can check out Eric Spicely's social media for that news. Also, MMAfighting.com. Later, after this, we'll have the face-offs. And after the face-offs, in a couple hours, we'll have your preview show.
We'll also have a Dana White scrum.
We'll also have a Dana White scrum. A lot going on today.
You haven't made the trip to the Apex for a quarantine, the pandemic card, huh? Right, Esther?
I have not, but I am. I have been approved
Nice.
for UFC 252.
Photographs or video work?
Video. No photography still. Although, would I not be able to take? Oops, sorry. Would I not be able to take photos from the from my seat if I manage to get a seat inside?
I'd like to see someone tell you no. I'm hearing them give the instructions for Staredowns in the back right now.
Oh. Probably gonna roll right into it then, huh?
I can't tell. Now they're talking about testing, like another test they have to take.
Hmm. You need one of those fancy field microphones.
Seriously.
A little umbrella behind it.
Seriously.
Then we've got 7 minutes left and still waiting on Charlie Ontiveros.
I'm trying to find out if there's any time between weigh-ins and face-offs.
Yes, and also find out if maybe they're going to give Charlie some kind of, maybe let him weigh in a little bit later since he was seriously called like right before the weigh-in started.
Yeah, seriously. Yep, we'll do.
For people looking at the card right now, and since I myself am not a gambler, do you have any locks? Do you look at this card and you're like, yeah, definitely so-and-so is going to win?
So I was told they're going to try to do weigh-ins right after.
The face-offs.
They're going to try anyway. Yeah, well, face-offs. That's what I meant. I haven't had any coffee today, guys. It's been a day.
You haven't had any coffee today?
No, so so there's no room service at the hotel because of the pandemic and everything. So if you drink your coffee, that's it. And then they don't have coffee in the lobby anymore, which I was completely thrown off by. And then when I got to the UFC Apex, I couldn't bring my coffee into the weigh-in, so I didn't want to just take one sip and then throw it away. So just all these random circumstances have forced me to go coffeeless this morning.
All right. That is unfortunate. Gonna have to get you an AeroPress.
Seriously. Now I know. I'll bring a French press or something next time.
I do wish that I do wish that I could shoot the fights. I've brought up to the UFC that I would if I can't be in there because I know space is limited, it's not safe. I would have I did ask if I could set up some remote cameras. They had said something about the power being an issue, but I could also battery power them. But I'm sure they're just not even thinking about it. Even ESPN is just taking the photos that UFC is distributing too. So
I suggested if it's too many people in the Apex, for safety concerns, that in between rounds, Esther could also simply hold up her fingers to remind everyone what round we're in.
Seriously.
So after.
Oh yeah, I could take photos and then also in between be like, by the way, it's round 2.
Hold on. I think we have some new development on the hoop thing.
Ooh, exciting.
It looks like.
Is it the shower?
I don't know.
The kind of the frame?
Yeah.
The hoop, the cube of shame.
The cube of shame. It was sitting off to the side and they just brought it to the back, so I don't know if they're just getting it out of the way or they're waiting for him to show up and they're going to walk up to the scale with it. Not 100%.
This is gonna be exciting. This is the debut of the.
You don't think so? Why not? Because he got his fight 12 hours ago. Are they doing the Staredowns right after?
This is Vegas. Maybe it's like one of those. Maybe it's one of those kind of boxes where they get in and then the magician cuts it in half and they split it. You know, ta-da!
Right. Our friend Kenny
I made weight.
from MMA Junkie. Our friend Kenny from MMA Junkie thinks that he won't even weigh in.
Oh, all right.
Oh, so that fight could be
Hi,
off.
Kenny.
Just saying.
Hey, do me a favor and kick over Kenny's camera, real quick.
That's his camera's so nice. I'm gonna tell him you said that.
Aw, don't do that. Kenny's the
Casey
best.
put a bounty on the camera.
I got a quick punch. You might get a discount a bit.
Kenny laughed.
So for you everyone at home, MMA fighting, MMA junkie. When we're not at fights, we're not at the fights. We often get into rumbles and things outside of the cage. A lot of
Sure.
If you've seen West Side Story, which we're 100% the Sharks.
Yeah, we're totally Sharks.
Don't ever call us the Jets. And it's all about the switchblades and the chains and the snapping and unison. About it.
Hey, what's going on? What are these guys doing?
I don't know, so I'm trying to figure out.
It looks like they're moving the scale.
Don't do that. We have people to weigh in. What's going on?
Is he not wearing it?
What?
It looks like they're taking the scale away.
What? Is the fight off? Is there any information? We still have a minute left. We have a minute.
Are they pulling the scale?
It's not there.
Yeah.
Are they taking is the last fighter not weighing in?
Wow.
Okay. So that fight's going to be canceled most likely.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
That's what
Oh, man.
Okay, so
the
last
statement is
second
gonna go out, you
replacement, Charlie Ontiveros might not actually make it. So that fight might be off.
Okay.
Okay.
They said they will have a statement on their site relatively soon.
Okay. Well, yeah.
So that fight's off, I assume. If he's
You only had a couple hours notice. That's very short.
he's got 25 seconds left to weigh in. All right, so
He's gonna make it.
20 more seconds. This is exciting. This is a first. I haven't seen this happen before. Man, pandemic times. And I think that fight is officially off in about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, our weigh-in window is done.
Hey, what's up, man?
Can you update the graphics, Esther? I guess with something. I don't know. What do we call this?
Yeah, with something.
I'm not sure what to call this.
I put asterisks there.
You
just want to put did not weigh in, or?
All right, hold on. I got an update. Due to visa issues, Team Murphy-Olive has been removed from his featherweight bout against Jamal Emmers. Stepping in to face Emmers will be Hawaii's Vincent Gutierrez. We knew that. Ray Borges withdrawn from his bout on Saturday. His opponent, Nate Maness, will now face the unbeaten Johnny Munoz in a featherweight bout due to weight management issues. Eric Spicely newcomer Charles Ontiveros will now take on Marcus Perez in middleweight bout. But that's not the update. Okay, new update, I guess. That was the old one. They just sent the new one. Load. Due to commission ruling, the bout with Marcus Perez is canceled. So Charles Ontiveros versus Marcus Perez is canceled due to a commission ruling.
Okay.
Wow.
So the commission maybe didn't prove it?
Correct.
All right.
So we don't know.
I mean, it was very last second.
Yeah, we don't know.
So.
We're not sure why was it. If it was the weight cut was just too much, or it could have been other things. His medicals weren't done properly, or things like that. So we don't know why exactly. But it sounds like the commission nixed that fight. All right. I guess we'll find out if Marcus Perez gets paid or not. I would hope so. I would hope a lot of these fighters. I All these fighters get paid.
Okay, I will update that in just a second here for our graphics. Just give me 1 second. Okay, should be updated. All right. The commission has scratched Perez versus Ontiveros, who, again, lots happened this morning. Was originally Perez Spicely. So, 3 fights.
So stay tuned. We'll be live streaming the face-offs in just a few moments.
Yeah, just go ahead and stick around, correct?
I believe so. That's what I was told anyway.
Yeah, so stick around. We'll have the face-offs here in a minute. So 10 fights now instead of 11. We went from 15 fights last weekend to 10 this week.
And 10's a nice number.
10 is a nice number.
That's a good number.
We've got a commenter, Nick Bergen, saying, at least I'll be in bed by 8 p.m.
All right.
I'm sure everybody on the East Coast and all of the European fans watching appreciate a nice short card. But I did update the graphic, Casey, if you want to go ahead and load the new one. But unfortunately, the commission has stepped in the Perez-Ontiveros bout, and that will not go on. So it is now a 10-fight card. And just to remind y'all, the main event is Derek Brunson versus Edmond Shahbazyan, and even though it is the main event, it is still a 3-round bout because of the fact that they are being promoted to main event so late. So Brunson Shahbazyan 3-round middleweight bout. Co-main, Joanne Calderwood versus Jennifer Maia in the flyweight division. Jennifer Maia, who had previously had trouble making weight, was actually the first to weigh in today and made it underneath the championship limit. After that, we've got Vicente Luque versus Randy Brown. 170.5 for both men. Probably going to be fireworks in that bout. Got a lightweight bout, Bobby Green versus Lando Venata next. Kevin Holland versus Trevin Giles in middleweight. Giles. Frankie Cyans came in at 136 for his bantamweight bout against Jonathan Martinez, who missed weight and came in at 140.5. And he will be fined a portion of his show money. We will find out from the UFC probably after face-offs officially what that amount will be. Ed Herman and Gerald Mirshard made light heavyweight. Nathan Maness, who was supposed to fight Ray Borg, is now fighting Johnny Munoz Jr. Both men made the featherweight limit. Jamal Emmers and Vincent Cachero also made featherweight. And opening up the card, Chris Gutierrez and Cody Durden both came in at 135.5. And as you might see on the screen, there are little asterisks. Marcus Perez versus Charlie Ontiveros was going to be a catchweight at 195, and then the commission stepped in, and that fight will not happen now. So, never mind. And now we're just waiting on the face-offs.
Yes, we are.
This is Esther Lynn for MMAfighting.com. We've got EKC Leiden over there in the truck, and Jose Young's on the scene in Las Vegas at the UFC Apex.
everyone is standing by, all the camera out, UFC guys out, so it should be happening soon.
All right. According to Jose Youngs, all the staff are kind of standing by. It looks like
all the video cameramen are all sitting down in the front. We got one off to the side. Security's on both sides of the what do you call it? The canvas behind. So it looks like we're literally just waiting on Dana and the fighters at this point.
Great. So we're just waiting on the face-offs, which are imminent. We've got Jose telling us, who's there on the scene, telling us that there are fighters already lined up and ready and waiting.
So it looks like 30% will be taken from Jonathan Martinez's fight purse and given to Frankie Cyans. So
all right.
That fight.
So the fine is 30% for that makes sense because it would be 20% for a smaller weight miss within like 3 pounds, I think. But once you make it over the 3 pound limit, then it's 30%, and then after that, I believe they just cancel the fight. So,
guys, you can't be back in this room. We need you guys to stay in your seats, please.
Some coaches were trying to come out to watch the Staredowns, and they got shoot away.
How dare they? Simply go to our stream if you want to watch the face-offs, coaches. Jeepers.
And if you're wondering, yes, originally Yana Kunitskaya was scheduled to fight on this card against Ketlen Vieira. Ketlen Vieira had to drop out, so Yana Kunitskaya will be fighting Invicta bantamweight champ Yulia Stoliarenko was it next week? Either way, future date.
I think it's next week. The 8th.
Okay. And if you would like to know more about Yulia Stoliarenko, you should check out her fight in Invicta against Lisa Verzosa.
Oof. One of the bloodiest lady fights I have ever seen. No, it was the bloodiest lady fight I've ever seen. Not one of.
Yeah. Before then, I don't know. There's been a lot. Invicta has kind of a pretty good record for having some pretty violent fights. Last night for sure, y'all should check out the main event, the strawweight main event between Janaisa Moranjan and Montserrat Ruiz.
And let's also celebrate that we're back to the small cage.
Yes, back to the small cage. So I am actually super curious we've already had heavyweight fights in the small cage, but I don't know why, for some reason in my mind, imagining Derek Lewis in there just seems even funnier. It's not it's not a small cage, but it is 5 feet smaller in diameter.
I think so.
Yes, it's significantly smaller.
Yes.
It's that's where Rothwell Overeem was in a small cage.
Yes. But for sure, small cage definitely presses the action more, just like when you have less sides back in the day when Strikeforce was a hexagon. Just the slight
sharper angles.
Sharper angles in the corners there forced a little bit more action. If you've ever seen a cage fight in a square cage, those are just ridiculous. They just end.
Old, Elite XC, the Showtime Challengers cards had some fights were in the square cage.
As well as Victory Fighting Championships over in Omaha, Nebraska.
I don't think people are into the square cage because it actually looks too much like a cage, like a literal cage.
Yeah, I know it literally looks like a cage. Yeah, no, you know what? If you're gonna do it in a square, you might as well do it in a ring. Personally, if you're asking a photographer what she prefers, definitely a ring. It's way easier to photograph.
Well, you just get better
Um,
photos. Yeah, just.
you just
Oh,
get
here we
better
go.
photos.
Looks like we're about to start.
Oh,
Let's do it.
all right.
Oh, get that graphic off.
All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to stare these guys down. We start our night tomorrow night on ESPN Plus with a bantamweight matchup. Chris Gutierrez takes on Cody Durden.
Go, right up here. I made it.
Chris Gutierrez and Cody Durden. Up next, a featherweight matchup. Jamal Emmers takes on Vince Cachero. Jamal Emmers and Vince Cachero. Up next, a featherweight bout. Johnny Munoz takes on Nate Maness. Up next, we are in the light heavyweight division. Ed Herman takes on Gerald Mirshard. And our featured prelim is in the bantamweight division. Frankie Cyans takes on Jonathan Martinez. Our main card is also on ESPN Plus, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Kicking that off is a middleweight matchup between Kevin Holland and Trevin Giles. Kevin Holland and Trevin Giles. Our next matchup is in the lightweight division. Lando Venata takes on Bobby Green. Rematch for these two between Lando Venata and Bobby Green. Up next, we're in the welterweight division. 11th ranked Vicente Luque takes on Randy Brown. Our co-main event is a women's flyweight bout. 3rd-ranked Joanne Calderwood takes on 6th-ranked Jennifer Maia. And our main event comes at middleweight between top 10 contenders. 8th ranked Derek Brunson takes on 9th ranked Edmen Shahbazyan. Derek Brunson and Edmond Shabazyan. Our main event tomorrow night. First fight just after 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. We'll see that on ESPN+.
Okay, and those were the face-offs.
All right.
And sorry, Esther.
Oh, yep. That's it for us here.
Nope. Oh, we're not staying on for the scrum?
Oh,
Well, let me find out.
well, let me see. If it's going to be right now, then yes, we will go ahead and stay on. But that was it for the face-offs for UFC on ESPN Plus 31.
Setting the Dana Scrum up.
Oh, they're already setting the Dana Scrum up. Let's just see if we can just...
Yeah, we'll stick around, and Dana White coming up next.
Test. Ooh.
I'm going to set the mic to the camera.
Great. So we're just going to be in transition here a little bit as Jose makes some adjustments for the Dana White Scrum. That's about to happen. Again, this is Esther Lynn from MMAfighting.com, and we've got EKC Light in the truck and Jose Youngs over there at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas. And unfortunately, we now have a 10-fight card instead of an 11-fight card. Lots of fight changes in the last 24 hours and tons more in the last 2 weeks. So you'll see here that Marcus Perez versus Charlie Ontiveros will not be happening anymore. The commission has scratched that bout. But we've got 10 other fights for you. Derek Brunson versus Edmen Shahbazyan in a 3-round main event. Just want to address a couple comments asking if Ed and Gerald face off. Yes, they did face off. It's hard when everyone's wearing masks. It's a little bit difficult to tell who's facing who. And for me, I am somehow watching 2 streams at the same time, and they're not completely synced. So I'm confusing myself as well, which is great. However, yes, the only person that missed weight today would be Jonathan Martinez in his bantamweight bout against Frankie Cyans. He came in at 140.5, while Frankie came in at 136. So, unfortunately, he will be fined 30%. But everyone else on the main card making weight. You've got Dana White speaking to the media soon. They're just setting up. And again, you might notice there are a few new names on the card. As of this morning, Nathan Maness was supposed to be fighting Ray Borg, but he is now fighting Johnny Munoz Jr. at featherweight. Jamal Emmers was supposed to be facing Timur Valiev, but he will face Vincent Cachero instead. And we're just waiting on Dana White to scrum with the media here in Las Vegas. pretty bummed that Timur Valiev isn't fighting. I always look forward to watching him fight. But there's plenty of other action on the card. I mean, guaranteed fireworks, always with Vicente Luque.
What's up, guys and girls? Hi.
Changes to this fights that fell apart or had to be redone the last 36 hours. Can you remember a time like this where I know you always say you're ready for anything, but you're not ready for.
Proving it again. Yeah. We're ready for anything. You know, obviously there's some things that we couldn't pull off, but this is going to happen. This is going to be absolutely normal over the next God knows how long.
Looking at the main event, obviously Edmen Shahbazyan and Derek Brunson was really supposed to be the co-main event, but now that they are in the main event, I think a lot of people are excited for this fight. It seems like even though it was bumped up, the people are still excited. So what is at stake for this fight, given what happened last week in that key middleweight fight?
Yeah, no, I love this fight. I've been excited for this fight for a long time. I was just really shocked at the stare down how much bigger Shahbazyan is than him. You know, it's interesting. It's going to be a fun fight. You know, Brunson's explosive, got knockout power, great wrestling, and Shahbazyan is well-rounded. This is obviously the toughest test of his career, and we're going to find out tomorrow night what this kid's got. He wants to be the youngest champion ever. Tomorrow is the real test to tell where this kid's at.
Dropping down to the co-main event, Joanne Calderwood was supposed to fight Valentina in June, and then it kept getting pushed back. Were you surprised that she took a fight risking her number one contender spot?
Nah, I mean, when you're real, that's what you do. That's what you do when you're real. I love it.
And then some housekeeping. I'm sure you saw Conor McGregor tweeted, like, I accept. Does that mean anything, or have you spoken to him at all?
Yeah, that was Hamzat. Hamzat posted, I want Nate Diaz, Masvidal, or McGregor, and McGregor said, I accept. That's what that was.
Is there any interest in actually making that fight?
No. No, I mean, listen, Conor's retired, and Conor's move right now is sit back, let's see how this year plays out and see what's next for him. You know, you know he wants the Khabib fight. That happens October 24th, so we'll see.
Is that Khabib, just in case you fight, that's going to be on Fight Island, I would imagine?
Well, we haven't announced where yet, but probably, yeah. And
then one final one. What did you make of the Herb Dean, Dan Hardy situation that happened, the fight card?
Yeah, let me say this to you guys. I'm glad you asked me that question. Something went down last night in Abu Dhabi, too, where Goddard got pushed. And I want to make this very clear. If you work for me and you approach a judge or a referee or any type of official, I will fire you. You will lose your job. You will never work for me again if you do that. Nobody has the right to, listen, you want to criticize judges, you want to criticize referees, you didn't agree with a decision or things like that. We love Dan, you know, Dan got emotion. And the problem is now, with this setup, it's a lot easier to do, okay? It's a lot easier to interact with everybody, from the fighters to the refs to the media and everybody. If you work for me at any capacity and you approach a referee or judge or an official, I will fire you that night on the spot. That can never happen here ever again.
Have you spoken to Dan since that?
I'm speaking to him right now. I'm speaking to everybody. Don't ever do it ever again. And if you're a fighter and you put your hands on or, you know, threaten any official, you will never, ever fight here again. Period.
Hey, Dana. Earlier this week, Governor Sisolak said that the state of Nevada would no longer be targeting industries, but individual businesses as to who could continue on in the pandemic. That must be great news for you guys, right?
Yeah, what was the question?
Sisolak is targeting companies, not industries. So if you can prove you can continue, you can go on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've done, not only have we done everything that we were supposed to do, I mean, we've been very successful doing it. You know, you see all these other sports, a lot of people are having problems, you know, making this thing work. We haven't.
Earlier this week, the Nevada State Athletic Commission released a proposal of what they're going to talk about at the next meeting, and on it says the next UFC pay-per-view 253 could be here in Vegas. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're home for a while.
Cool. With Khamzat Chimaev, what do you do with him? Do you have a fight for him in August? I know you were looking at one.
Yeah. We're trying to get him figured out right now. Listen, this kid wants to fight every weekend, and he's not joking. He wants to fight every weekend. And obviously, in this climate, that's tough to do, but I love that shit, and I want to do it. So I'm going to do everything. Listen, when this kid wants to fight, I'm gonna make it happen. So
do you,
I love guys with that mentality. This guy's the real deal.
Do you sort of take your time with him like you're doing with Sean O'Malley, just sort of match him up against lower ranked guys and build him up slowly, or do you just push him up the rankings?
Do you guys realize that the kid we matched him up with from the UK, the last fight he had, that dude is a badass. That guy is legit. Don't let the way the fight played out fool you. That kid was very good, and he made him look not very good. This guy's at a whole nother level. This dude is real.
That's what I mean. So do you just give him top 10 like right away?
I don't know.
It's finally been announced Mike Tyson is facing Roy Jones Jr. in his comeback fight. I know you were sort of a bit apprehensive about it at the beginning, but now it's all been announced. You've spoken to Mike. How do you feel about it?
I'm flying out probably next week to watch him train. I'm going to his camp next week, so I'm excited for him. Listen, he says he's got that fire. He says he wants to fight. He wants this. Jones wants it. They're grown men. I'm 100% supportive.
Will you be there that night?
Probably not, no.
How do you see it going down?
I have no clue. I'll tell you what. Ask me that question next week after I go to camp and watch him train, and I'll give you an honest answer.
Last one from me. I know you have no idea when fans are coming back or anything like that, but when they do you stack that card as some sort of big return event?
Yeah, I mean, I always try to stack the card and make the card as good as it can possibly be. I'm not even thinking about fans coming back. It's not even something that I think about. I'm just trying to figure out all the other shit that, you know what I mean? I'm not even there. It's not even I mean, we were just talking about the governor saying people who don't comply and all this other stuff. I mean, we're so far from fans. It's nowhere near close.
Dana, since the first run of the Fight Island has ended, do you look back on it? Are there some takeaways? What were your overall thoughts on what transpired over in Abu Dhabi? It
was perfectly executed. It was fun. It was a unique experience, especially now. I mean, none of us get to travel or go anywhere, do anything. It was a very good break from the monotony. And like I said, it was super successful, and it was successful in every way that an event can possibly be successful. So it was awesome.
And I know you guys have kind of setting a crazy schedule for August with the Contender Series and then the various other UFC events. Can you kind of just give us your thoughts on what August is going to look like?
Yeah, I'm excited about. I love the Contender Series. It's one of my favorite things to do. So I'm obviously very excited about that, and I just, you know, as me personally, and as a company, we're just putting our head down right now and and grinding, running. I can't wait for January 1st. Life is too short. You don't ever want to wish your life away, but come on, Jan 1. I can't fucking wait to get out of 2020. I don't know what I'm expecting in fucking Jan 1, but yeah, I can't. We're putting our head down. We're just fucking grinding, man. I'm just trying to get through this year.
And finally, for me, you know, been watching basketball and all this other stuff and seeing these virtual fans. I would just love to get your take on what you think about these screens set up on the side of the court showing fans, and would there ever be a possibility of seeing CGI fans in the crowd out there for one of the UFC events?
You know, listen, everybody's got to do their own thing and what they think, you know, works for their sport, their business. I like the way it's set up now with, you know, we got media. Got some people that need to be there and that are working in some corners. I think it works for us. I think the show comes off great. There were a couple of, when you asked me about Fight Island, now that you just mentioned that, there were a couple production things that I didn't love that I'm trying to tweak right now for our next run over there. But I'm pretty happy with where we're at.
What's up, Dana?
Hey, buddy.
I know on Tuesday, August 4th, Contender Series starts. Is there any update with the Ultimate Fighter ramping up?
Yeah, we're still working on that. You know, Jacksonville, we did the Apex, we did Fight Island. We're getting the Contender Series going again. Now we're trying to figure out the Ultimate Fighter, when to go, how to pull it off. You know, if this thing's done in Las Vegas, how are we gonna get the approval to have these guys all living in a house together? And you know, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but we're on it.
Do you think it's likely it happens in 2020 or it'd be 2021?
I don't know. I can't give you an honest answer on that.
Rodriguez versus Zabit was just announced for the end of this month. Volkanovski's been kind of vocal that he doesn't want to have a Holloway 3 match. Where do you see the winner of that fight for Zabit and Rodriguez in their
I know it's an interesting position to be in, because I don't think anybody would deny that Holloway deserves another crack at it. I can totally see Volkanovski's side of that and saying, well, guess what? The only fucking people that matter, the judges said I won the fight twice, and I'm ready to look at another opponent. So I get both sides. I need to really sit down and talk to the boys. We haven't talked yet, Sean and Mick, and figure out what we think is the next best step for Volkanovski.
And lastly,
Max.
And lastly, for me this weekend, Angela Hill makes her debut as an analyst for this fight card. Just curious how that came about and what her future is in store for broadcasting with the UFC.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. You know, all of our fighters, really, if you look at the UFC and how many fighters have got to work in TV while they were fighting or when they're done fighting, it's actually pretty cool. And it's a testament to how sharp, you know, these people really are and how talented they are, because that isn't easy. Getting on there and calling fights or whatever you're doing on television isn't easy. These guys are doing it with no training. You know, they didn't go to school for this shit, and it's pretty impressive. And she, you know, contrary to what she believes, I love that kid. I know that, you know, in her last fight, I don't know what she saw, you know, in the Claudia Gadelha fight, you know, but for some reason she thought that I didn't stand up for her and that she won the fight and things like that. She couldn't be more wrong. We love her here, and I'm happy to see her getting this opportunity, and I hope she kills it. Yep.
Yeah, Kathleen Vieira, she's not going to fight next week here in Vegas, but Jennifer is fighting tomorrow. So if I'm not wrong, Brazilians are not allowed to get inside the U.S. yet. Are you guys working with the immigration to help Brazilian fighters to come to the U.S. to fight?
Listen, anybody who can't get into the U.S. will go to Fight Island.
So how Jennifer is fighting this week? How is this process?
I don't know the specific situation or how it worked out. I don't know. But if you can't get into the country, we fight you in Fight Island. If you can get into the country, we fight you here.
Yeah, that's the doubt because if I'm not wrong, on the website says that Brazilians are not allowed to get inside the U.S. But Kathleen was supposed to fight next week, but she said she's fighting in Vegas September 12th, so she can get inside, but she couldn't get the visa at the time. So this bureaucracy, we don't have the details about it. So my question is are you guys working with the immigration to help Brazilians to get inside the U.S.?
Of course we are.
Yeah.
We're working with everybody, with immigration, with everybody to get into the country or get into Fight Island. Of course.
Oh, okay. Well, what kind of help?
We don't just say, hey, figure this shit out and let us know how it works out. We have a whole immigration department that literally that's what they work on.
Sure. My last question is, do you have any update about the deal with Venom? Any update about the fighters' payment? If something's going to change about the Reebok deal?
What's the question? Yeah, they'll be paid.
Yeah, but do you have any update? Is something's going to change between the Reebok deal, Venom deal about fighters getting paid?
No, they get paid.
The same amount?
Reebok paid them and Venom pays them. I think they get more in the Venom deal.
Do you have any update, the specific amount, or not yet?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks very much for tuning in to our live coverage of the UFC on ESPN Plus 31 official weigh-ins to the face-offs and now this Dana White scrum. This is Esther Lynn from MMAfighting.com. We've got Jose Youngs over there in Las Vegas. We've got Casey Leiden here in the truck. And we'll be back later today with the preview show. So stay tuned. All of our fight coverage tomorrow night. Thank you.